$100,000 gone down the drain, developers striking, as well as rumors of illegal work requests. These are all of the things that have marred the brand new Kickstarter campaign for Burning Lands, which isn't so brand new anymore because it's almost over, but it is almost over as soon as it began, because this is a crazy tale that I really wanted to talk about once I've learned everything that's happening, and as the Kickstarter goal is finally coming to an end and failure is in sight. With all of the information out now, I just felt like I had to talk about it. So, from a tweet of a Twitter user called Moydog, he says Burning Lands has imploded. Essentially, the project lead, Chance Bra, is attempting to do damage control after his developers go on strike against him. So I have a quick summary of essentially why the developers went on strike. Someone has been speaking with the lead developers for a while, and this is a culmination of the issues that were never resolved. These include Chance's lack of leadership ability, no direction or prioritization of resources to actual important tasks, Chance's public behavior, which was publicizing lots of sexual content from his own personal life, and a lack of transparency of the funds. Nobody but Chance ever saw where the money had gone. So all of these developer demands are a huge red flag. I mean, this is this is bad. Do not support this Kickstarter. It seems like a lot of people are no longer supporting this Kickstarter whatsoever. It at one point in time had 100 grand behind it, 100 G's, baby, and now it has fallen to an abysmal $32,000. And the pledge goal that would get this game made was $51,000. So this project, if it does not reach the $51,000 goal in the next 36 hours, will flop. It will not be released at all. And the developers get none of the money because that's how this Kickstarter project works. It's an all or nothing system. And so that money's just gone. And the $100,000 this Kickstarter used to have had 70,000 of those dollars refunded, which is pretty rare to get that many people in a Kickstarter to refund. And I get the vibe probably the last 32,000 people aren't even people who want this thing to release. They're people who didn't realize all this has happened and had already backed it. So luckily they'll get their money back anyway because it's all or nothing yet again. So Burning Lands, Vietnam, an absolute disaster. And they had gone as far as to have some of their stretch goals met, including continuing the development of the game, getting them to early access point, and almost reaching the dismemberment point. And they had a stretch goal of 400,000, and this is Australian dollars for the stretch goals, $400,000 for console editions. That is obviously never going to happen at this point unless some absolute miracle happens. Like some very wealthy donor comes about. I don't know how that's going to happen, but either way, all of this started with these developers having these issues and going on strike against the studio and this Chance guy. And there was a lot of passion behind this project from the developers, from what I've heard. Everyone has been wanting a large-scale Milsim in the Vietnam War for quite a while. We've got Rising Front, which is a very solid game, not very large scale though, and pretty arcadey. You've got Black Ops, which is very arcadey and old and a great game, but you know, still. Bad Company Vietnam, again, arcadey, really fun game, excellent, but old again, you know, and not true Milsims either. And you've got some Arma 3 mods, which are great, but again, it'd be really nice to have some, you know, voiceover in-game with command ranks, you know, a post-scriptum game or a Hell Let Loose type game based in Vietnam. It's something that, you know, would definitely attract quite the audience and did. I mean, it had a lot of backers. And it still has 435 backers, which isn't too bad, but again, it's not going to get made at this point. So what's the point of those backers? So either way, tons of success for this. Like, this is like a home run, easy peasy. And then the developers go on strike. They have AMAs, basically explaining why they've gone on strike, all that. The head lead of the project essentially hasn't really taken responsibility for anything, and from what I understand, has been trying to outsource this project now to other developers. And this was before he dropped below his funding goal, which is now below it. And now we're going to find out with his latest update on what he plans to do. So he titles this Funding, Transparency, and the Future. Up until this point, many individuals have dedicated their efforts to developing Burning Lands Vietnam out of sheer passion. Nevertheless, recognizing the importance of delivering a polished early access product on Steam within a reasonable time frame, we find it necessary to turn to our backers for support in raising the required funds. Basically, he's saying, look, give us money, get us back to our goal. To achieve this, we've set a minimum goal of 78 grand Australian, which he's not close to at all. He's about $30,000 less than that, which will ensure that the release of the game is a stable and high quality state. That's very interesting because previously he was saying he needed more money than this to get a stable and high quality state going, and now he can do it in less without the dev team that had been working on it for ages. So it's just not a good look right there. Additionally, our stretch goals aim to expedite the development of planned features that we believe will significantly enhance the overall play experience. So now he's still trying to get stretch goals going, which just really doesn't make sense. But either way, he continues, in light of recent events, it is crucial to clarify that a considerable number of developers involved in the project had previously agreed, as part of the arrangement, to be reimbursed for their profits generated by BLV after its official release, rather than receiving compensation prior to that point. So basically, the devs were like, we'll get paid after we finish the game. And it's a really risky contract to go into in case this happens. And he touches upon that. He says, this has left me perplexed regarding their actions, as their conduct not only resulted in a setback for the project, but also adversely impacted themselves and the online community eagerly anticipating the development and release of BLV. Now, obviously, he kind of twists this as like, oh, these guys are such idiots. Why are they doing this? Why are they hurting the community? Why are they hurting themselves? But in reality, I think it just goes to show how troubled this project was. If the development team knew they probably weren't going to see a penny from this game if it doesn't get released, and yet they still went ahead with this strike. Pretty crazy. So the initial strategy involved allocating just 30% of the resources to the development team, with the remainder earmarked for outsourcing to expedite the development process. However, adjustments to this plan have become necessary. It is essential to emphasize that the outsourcing arrangements, both in the past and moving forward, will not have any detrimental impact on the project. The quality of the overall project will remain unaffected, ensuring that the use of external resources do not compromise the excellence of the final outcome. So he's basically saying that this game will still be just as good as it would before, even by outsourcing the development and finding new developers for this in the middle of the project. I don't know about you, but if you're writing a book and halfway through the book, you switch writers completely, and there is no help from the previous writers, the tone, the narrative, the direction, the writing style, everything will be completely different in the second half. And it is the same with game development. It's the same with film. It's the same with writing. It's the same with game development. You can't do this without everything being changed. It's not going to stay the same. The lead guy is not important enough to impact the project's overall direction without the help of the developers staying consistent. So I completely think this is bull. Complete bull. It really annoys me that he says this, and he's clearly very ignorant and just trying to resort to getting any amount of money back. That's really what I think. So, essentially, this is awful. He goes on to say, like, His initial belief and hope was in resolving it amicably. To quote myself from our internal discussion in regards to having someone take over as project lead, I'm considering the possibility of bringing in a project lead, but this will only be feasible when the project is financially stable. I mean, that really doesn't mean anything. You know, he could just continue to say it's never financially stable, or it could be after the project was already backed, and who knows where the money goes at that point. You know, if he's not letting anyone see the finances, he can just make up a bunch of bullshit. So it doesn't work, you know? Either way, he says, I couldn't allow members like this to be a part of this project any further. Essentially stating that, you know, he is not going to be having them on the project at all anymore. And it's just stupid. Clearly, they didn't want to be in the project anyway. And so that's that. That's it. Like it's someone who is incapable of taking responsibility for their actions, and this has led them to not being able to get what they want done. If they had taken responsibility and worked to fix things, they wouldn't have lost their $100,000 in pledges, and they'd still be able to publish this thing. But now we're at $32,000 of a $51,000 goal, and there's still 36 hours to go. And I don't think he is going to recover from this deficit. And it's a real shame, because a Milsim Vietnam War game would in fact be incredible. It would be really, really fun to play. I have no doubt that this is needed in the gaming space, but it's clear that this guy is not the guy to do it, and he probably never was, and it's a good thing we found out about this before the game went any further. So his bad leadership, his inappropriateness, his incapability of admitting wrong has led to all of this. It's a shameful situation, but you know, it probably ended for the best this way. That's all I have to say. I was going to talk also about this situation with Blue Drake and Drakeling Labs. He's another YouTuber you might know, and he made the video game Operation Harsh Doorstep, which is free on Steam, and a studio, Venator, he has claimed that they are stealing his assets in his game. You can go on Blue Drake's Twitter. I'm not going to share these because the YouTuber Big Fry TV reported on all of this and is now getting copyright striked on his channel. And to me, whenever someone doesn't just simply say, no, I didn't steal your assets, what? I'm going to copyright strike you. That doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't you just show proof that you didn't steal the assets? Why don't you just show proof that you purchased them somewhere or made them yourself? That's not hard to prove. Show us the original files. That's not hard at all. Instead, copyright striking is almost an admission of guilt. I can't say with 100% certainty or anything like that, but it is sad to see that this is the way that these two projects are going, because it's just really sad, and I feel bad for Big Fry TV because he's an awesome guy in the community, doesn't deserve to have this happen, and it just looks bad. Just looks really, really bad for this game, and it's probably another game that's going to end up failing because of it. Maybe I'll make a full video of it in the future, but I just want to make sure I don't get my channel taken down or anything like that, because these are all just allegations right now, and this person is very litigious, clearly, so I don't really want to say anything definitive, but I will say it does not look good at the moment. And, you know, all he needs to do is publish proof, and we move on. That's it. Just publish proof. We can move on from this. But if he doesn't and continues down this legal way, it's a pretty bad look. I'm not going to lie. Either way, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.